Good morning, we are InTeraction. I'm Vincent, this is Cameron. We're working in a strategic partnership with Josh, who just presented. We believe that sort of what we're trying to achieve is reasonably similar synergies between them. So we're trying to work as close together as possible.
That's a live word. That's very agile.
So we're working on rapid hardware prototyping based on community engagement. So Josh touched on this just before, but our idea is to develop something that encourages awareness of sustainability. And we're going to go into these workshops and say to the community, you know, this is an issue that you have. How can we develop something that makes people more aware of it? By the end of this semester, we're hoping to have 3 working prototypes that we can use out of these workshops. But this is pretty much phase 1. Our project is split into 3 parts. The first is working with Josh to develop prototypes. The second is a research-based project in Europe. And the third will either be develop some final prototypes to go to a client or develop, or sort of finalize the framework that we've used to develop these prototypes. We've got several sort of systems that we've researched so far for using prototyping. So we've looked at little bits and fidgets and obviously Raspberry Pi and Arduino. Basically, yeah, our concept is designed by the community for the community. You know, I think there's a lot of focus on large corporations and blah, blah, blah. We really want to get grassroots with this, and we really want to get everyone involved as much as possible.
So, what are our risks? The fact that we might not be able to develop within time constraints. We need to ensure that the prototypes that the community comes up with when we hold these workshops are guided and don't go completely out of scope. The fact that workshops don't result in a clear concept development, so the community might not really come up with anything that we can build that will solve the overall issue. So we would just have to drive the workshop discussion in a decent manner. I kind of look at that one as leading in. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. We just have to show that it's the water first. So we seed idea and then they can flourish it where they want to go. Because of course the whole idea is engaging with the community and having them work with us to develop something that they want. And then if we don't have required resources,
I don't know if Sam's lost slide. Awesome, it's Ian's birthday today. So everyone's going to have to wish him happy birthday and a round of applause, yeah? We came in on his birthday. Shit, I bet it's 29 candles. It's Adam's fault, it's not. So yeah, questions?
I don't understand exactly how this fits with Joshua's project. It sounds as though you guys can't really get going until the workshops are actually ready.
So Josh he's developing the sustainability concept, whereas we're building the hardware framework that will support those workshops. So going into that, we're going to sit down and work out what we believe is the most efficient way to develop those prototypes on a short turnaround, and then we're going to take it into the workshop, see if it works, and if it doesn't, then we'll improve on that.
But you don't actually know how do you know the types of ideas that the workshop groups are likely to produce when those workshops have not actually started running yet? It sounds like this is the second year, and Joshua's is the first year. Are you going to have a work with a mock workshop outcome or something, so that you can get started without waiting until he has run 3 or 4 workshops so he's collected some data?
Absolutely. So we're going to obviously research prototyping to develop the way that we believe works, and we may look at holding mock workshops or working with other clients first to determine a way that works efficiently for these workshops.
And that's where the seed ideas come in for workshops as well. So we can still have a very clear idea of what the vision is for, say, the hardware. And we can do the research now on things that already exist everywhere and decide what we want to use, what we want to use it with.
I'm not 100% sure. Are you making tools for the workshops, or are you making the products that the workshops want? They've decided that need to be made.
We're making the products that the workshops come up.
Okay, I see.
Well, that's absolutely something we've discussed in our lists. So if we have an issue whereby we end up with a prototype that we can't develop for whatever reason, then that's something that we're going to need to discuss with Josh and determine a more appropriate outcome. It could be that if they want to build something that's totally unrealistic, we could build a simulation or look at it from an abstract point of view to develop something.
I can imagine communities want new playgrounds with better, I don't know, plumbing for infrastructure, bridges and stuff. What kind of projects could you imagine happening? Has anyone thought about what's possible? What technology, little technology things?
So initially we focused on the living campus. An easy example of that is the windmill on top of our building.
Yeah.
So we could build a kettle that will only boil on a windy day, or build a model house that's powered to the extent where we can gain energy from renewable resources, or something like that.
Okay.
So how are you going to recruit for the workshop? I'm very worried that there wouldn't be enough people coming to your workshop. Are you what are you trying to open it for every student in the Polytech, or are you trying to?
I'll answer part and then do you want to answer some as well, Josh?
Yeah.
So we're running a survey on campus to understand to find out what people's understanding of living campus is and how they believe sustainability applies to the environment that they're in. And as part of that, people are given the opportunity to come along to these workshops. And then we're also going to be seeking other groups like the Student Council and getting people from those to look at a wide range of opinions. There was a bit of a discussion we had with Jen about selection bias. And being a bit concerned, those who are fans of sustainability are the ones that will show up. So we're going to try and reach out across the wider Polytech network to get a sort of a wider group of stakeholders.
I suppose I would really what I would add to that is at the end of the day we are doing undergrad projects here. We are tackling something that's quite ambitious, something that hasn't really been done before, has only been tried once that I'm aware of so far. And at the end of the day, if what we come out with is a big long list of how this didn't work, I would rather have that here in an undergrad project than there's millions of dollars out.
It'd be better to have something that works well.
Oh, absolutely.
It should be possible to scope this out. I'm very concerned.
My question I have is, how do you isolate your goals? I mean, you have technological goals, technical goals, and you have managerial goals for engagement. So what's your achievement, what's Josh's achievement? How do you differentiate it clearly? Or is it inherently tied together?
Our achievement would be the application of the knowledge that we've developed here to either build a solution for a client semester or next year.
How do you measure the performance of it? I mean, in this case, it would be a final survey basically, and you measure did the community awareness increase or didn't it? Your outcome would be some tools, but you could build it without Joshua. So how do you measure that it was actually successful in some way in isolation from this achievement?
To be quite honest, I think that's something we really need to sit down and make.
Well, I would say quite simply, if they successfully build a series of rapid prototypes in short succession based on community feedback.
So the measure is your measure. So if you succeeded in your management activities, then they succeeded. They're inherently tied to your success.
If our hardware gets used, and if it gets used by the community, if it's actually going to be engaging the community and bringing people in, then I see that as a success.
Once you prototype, what's the process? Do you go back to the workshop with your prototype and make pretty much like the shop kind of thing?
We're not sure on the exact in-game implementation, because if, say, they wanted, if the Polytech wanted the hardware to be installed permanently, then there's a whole broader spectrum of things that need to be implemented so that it actually can be a permanent installation.
There seems to be two problems. One is about developing a community, which isn't really a very big community at the moment. And the second one about tools for their community. Perhaps you could look at an existing community such as Transition Council, Australia, and Otago, and think about what their community needs might be in going to IT goals. And I think, Josh, you could work with some communication with our students to help with the communication of your business to the community, which is quite a big problem.
Absolutely. I am hoping to acquire a communication design student from this recently.
Fire is the right word.
You have a website for that, right?
Okay.
That's really good feedback. So I live up in East Valley, so I contribute to the Valley project and there's various community groups.
Because we've already developed this community, so
It
around
makes sense.
sustainability. And if you could find out what the science sorts of things that they're looking at, we can give you that sort of step in the door with this community.
I'm very concerned that you're seriously underestimating the technical difficulty of what you're talking about. So you've talked about we could just throw a windmill together with fidgets, which are basically a little servo thing. Or you said, well, we could write a simulation. Neither of these things are easy at all. And the idea that somehow you're going to be able to get naive people to just sort of be able to do this in a room, I mean, not program a simulation, but even build the thing, it just sounds like it's really, really hard. And I think you need to ask yourself if there's something you can do to make sure that in November you have something. You know, you can't just say we'll make a simulation. That
The community people aren't doing the building.
Okay.
When they tried it, the Lancaster people, they initially went out thinking that they'd get community people to do the building,
Yeah.
and they pulled back from that
Yeah.
and did building themselves.
Yeah.
So it's the participatory design rather than actually doing the coding and building.
We won't be building them. Not on that journey.
So it could be something as simple as taking the form of a paper prototype or something like that. We're not necessarily aiming to build a full hardware implementation. And I say simulation.
But Cameron said if the Polytech wants the hardware to be made permanent.
The discussion about having a permanent installation is a complex one. This is something that we've spent some time negotiating with Jim and trying to determine a reasonable compromise on. So just to summarise, Cameron and I may be overseas for the second semester of this year, in which case our deliverable will be in next year. So we've still got, I don't want to say we've still got a little bit of time because it's an way of looking at it, but we're hoping to develop this system so that we can then apply it in our own context further down the track.
We are prototyping. We're not looking to deliver a permanent, going to be here in 20 years installation.
I'm not worried about your part actually. Your part makes sense to me, but this here, I think this is really hard.
If you'd be interested, we're happy to sit down with you afterwards and refine the project as it sounds.
So if it helps, if you look up Joe Davey, he did something sustainable, some sort of sustainability thing, didn't he?
I set up several systems, but none of them were interactive devices.
Just cheese.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.